Comes to the twin flame journey, I have been on this journey for about 7 years. And what some might think is a really long time to navigate this journey, I have learned to enjoy the unfolding, to find the beauty in this. But by me taking as long as I have to get to this place of inner union, it is actually to your benefit because, as many of you know, especially for those of you that follow me on TikTok, is that my soul loves to take the long way to wherever it is that I'm going because it is literally me experimenting with life. And my twin flame journey is no different. And I'm simply here to share what it is that has worked for me and what doesn't work, and allow you as feminines who are on the twin flame journey, take these lessons that I've learned and start applying it to your journey, allowing you to get out of this state of confusion and to let go of the looping that is occurring within your reality. And probably like a year or two of my twin flame journey, I started encountering things with people within the spiritual community that were talking about being high vibe and using affirmations and the law of attraction to create the life that I desired. And anybody that knows me is like, well, if others are doing it, I'm going to give it a try. But when it comes to your journey, this is what I've learned, whether it's your spiritual awakening or your twin flame journey, is that by trying to stay high vibe and affirming your way out of the fear that you're experiencing, the heartbreak that you're experiencing, the looking the other way of the part of you that you're abandoning over and over and over again, you're essentially gaslighting yourself, like I said, abandoning yourself. And not only that, these emotions that are coming up, you're just stuffing them down. So you're repeating the pattern. And by trying to affirm your way out of it or to not do the inner work and just to stay high vibe, you're doing false positivity and spiritual bypassing. And I want to talk about these two things in this video, along with providing you with some tangible steps to help you to start connecting to your feelings. And if you're new here, I want to welcome you. My name is Melissa. I am a spiritual guide. I am a mentor for the feminines who are on the twin flame journey, and I'm also an energy healer. I started Sacredness Within You to help those that are feminines on the twin flame journey tap into that sacredness that I know that lies within each and every one of you. And that sacredness that's within you is wanting to come through and allowing you to become magnetic and to embody the energy of divine union, which will enhance your ability to come into 3D union with your beloved. So, when it comes to this journey, there are so many reasons why the feminines are feeling stuck in this journey. They're in emotional limbo, they're longing for their beloved, then they go into this state of surrendering and they continue to attract the same patterns, the same situations over and over and over again. Here's the one thing that I want you to know, and this is going to be hard for some of you to hear, but looking back in year 3 of my journey, I wish somebody would have told me this, is feminines, you are not as far on your journey as you think you are. Many of you think you have done so much healing, which you have, but you haven't gotten down to the deep root cause of your abandonment, your deep root cause of your grief. You haven't addressed your unhealthy masculine embodiment. and you're still afraid to fully connect to your body. And if you're looking at your masculine as your mirror and your masculine is not changing, there's two reasons. One is because you haven't done the work to create the shift within you that will automatically create the shift within him and within your connection. Two is you haven't done enough healing to come into alignment, into a new state of embodiment that then triggers your masculine to start awakening and for your masculine to start doing the work. And so when it comes to your journey, it's so important for you to get truly honest with yourself, to lean into the medicine that this journey is trying to bring to you instead of running away from your feelings, running away from parts of you by doing more, you know, affirmations or rewriting your story, right? The only way that you're going to truly allow those affirmations and the subconscious programming to rewrite your story is if you have healed the part of you that speaks differently. And so in this video, I want to dive into, like I said, why you might be spiritually bypassing, what that feels like, what false positivity looks like, and how to give you some tangible ways to start tapping into your emotion. Because if you're looking at your twin flame and your twin flame, your masculine, is emotionally unavailable, here's the truth is that you are still emotionally unavailable to you. And so start beginning to look at where are you not emotionally available for yourself? Where are you saying that you're too busy for yourself? Where is it that you know intuitively in your journey that there are things that you should be doing right now, like some journaling, some inner work that is going to create the shift that's within you? And you're avoiding that by putting more on your plate or going to hang out with some friends or numbing yourself by watching TV. The only way you can shift is by getting crystal clear and understanding where you are. And to be really honest with yourself. Because whether you are aware of this or not, your beloved knows when you're speaking to them whether or not you are truly embodying what it is that you are saying. They could be consciously or unconsciously aware of this. So let's start by looking at what is spiritual bypassing. It is when you are using spiritual beliefs, spiritual practices, or language to avoid dealing with unresolved emotional pain, trauma, limiting beliefs, and your shadow work. And it can sound something like, everything happens for a reason. I'm not going to dwell on this pain. It could show up as, I just need to stay high vibe so I don't attract more negativity. Or if I think about my twin or I feel sad, I'm blocking union or I'm pushing him farther away. Or you saying it's all about love and light. Everything is about love and light, staying high vibe. But here's the thing is if you're avoiding the discomfort of your twin flame journey, and if your masculine is not in contact with you and avoiding you, it is a clear sign that you are avoiding the discomfort of your healing. Because let's face it is messy, right? To all of a sudden one day be, feeling this way or feeling high vibe, feeling in alignment, and the next day you're on the ground crying and being triggered by something in your reality. But the thing I want you to understand is triggers are a gift to you. They're a gift to you to help you understand more of you, helping you understand your pain, to open up, to be able to see that part of you, to open up with compassion, with grace and understanding. A couple months ago in Circle, we were actually talking about, how we speak to ourselves when we're going through something really challenging, right? Whether it's a lesson between you and your twin, a trauma, a shadow, a emotional pain point, whatever it might be, right? How you talk to yourself is so important. And for those of you that have kids, I want you to think about how is it that you speak to your children. And this is what we were talking about in a coaching call one day in there. Because a couple of the women have children and they were talking about some things that their children were going through and trying to understand what it was that they were trying to learn from that experience. But it's important to look at how is it that you speak to your children when they're going through a struggle that they're experiencing at school? Some kid picking on them or they had a really traumatic day. Do you tell them that they can't feel, that they have to just, tough it up or shove that emotion down or do something else to get their mind off of it? No. You probably hold them with compassion. You sit there with them and give them words of encouragement, support them through the emotions that it is that they're experiencing, and to help them navigate through this. That is exactly what it is that you need to do for you. Because when you continue to avoid to do the inner work, the farther that you push it out, the more that you avoid it, the more challenging that is going to become. And no amount of spiritual bypassing, you know, doing all these spiritual practices like meditating and, connecting to your spirit guides and stuff like that is going to get you out of whatever it is that you're going through. And in order to ascend your consciousness, sometimes you have to spiral back down in order to spiral back up. And that's by being able to sit with yourself, to process and release those emotions. And it's an opportunity for you to also connect to the story that you have regarding feeling your emotions. What conditioning have you taken on? What beliefs do you have around emotions? And start to look at those parts of you. So when we look at false positivity, or what others might say as toxic positivity, it's when someone forces themselves to be positive all the time, even when they're feeling sad, angry, heartbroken, or overwhelmed. And a lot of times when you start listening to things like Abraham Hicks or people that talk about manifestation and they're telling you that you have to be, positive all the time, here's the thing to understand is that is really unrealistic. As human beings, one of our gifts that we have is the emotions that we get to experience. We get to experience a whole array of different emotions. And to allow yourself to experience the highs of life and the lows of life because it's part of our human experience. And to think that life is always going to be like this is really unrealistic. So when we look at false positivity, it shows up as smiling when you want to cry, saying I'm fine when you really feel abandoned, heartbroken, or even devastated. It's constantly posting high vibe affirmations while secretly feeling lost or numb. Or it shows up as repeating mantras as like, I'm in union now, but being totally disconnected from your body. Because when it comes to embodying your feminine essence, embodying the state of union, it is an embodiment. It's a shift in your energy. Your energy that you're embodying is something completely different. And I'm here to tell you there is no amount of affirmations that is going to get you there without doing the inner work. Because false positivity actually keeps you disconnected from your emotional truth. It teaches your nervous system to deny real feelings and to feel unsafe, feeling things like fear, anger, grief, some of those things that you tend to emotionally repress within you. And actually, this false positivity will eventually lower your vibration over time because you're avoiding the emotions that are wanting to come up to surface. And one of the, I guess, gifts that I have that my body gives me is I create emotional discomfort. I create, excuse me, physical discomfort in my body when it's time to release an emotional or energetic pattern within me. And so if you have pain or discomfort in your body, it's an opportunity for you to connect to that part. So let's talk about how false positivity and spiritual bypassing actually affect you as a feminine on your twin flame journey. Here's the thing I want you to remember is as a feminine, you are here to feel deeply. Your depth of your emotion is deep. And it's your ability to feel and connect to yourself is related to your intuition and your natural embodiment of the feminine. And when you spiritually bypass or do false positivity, you suppress your pain and you try to mask it by appearing peaceful. And your grief that you're experiencing, you might try to, cover it up with mantras or self guided meditations. And here's the thing that I want you to know about meditation. We were actually talking about this yesterday in Circle, is that meditation is a great practice for you to connect to yourself, to connect to your spirit guides, to open up to receive guidance and support. And I look at my journey with tapping into my trauma, my pain, and my core beliefs that I have that are limiting me from truly embodying and being that version of me that I'm here to be. And when I go into meditation, I set the intention that I want to connect to this part that is speaking to me right now. So, for example, for me, I have sometimes pain in my right hand, which is linked to overdoing things, over giving from my masculine energy. And oftentimes I'll connect to that pain and ask myself, where is it that I'm overgiving? Where is it that I am forcing things in my life, in my business? And help me get to the root cause of that. Because when you ask your body something, when you ask your subconscious mind, and you connect to your inner child, they're going to bring you back to that emotional pain. And when it comes to the feminine softness, there's a lot of talk on social media right now about the feminine not being soft, right? But when it comes to her softness, it's the softness within her body. the softness within her energetic field. Her masculine guard is down, and her radiant magnetic self is like emanating from her. And she tries, when you're in this false positivity and spiritual bypassing, the feminine will often try to perform softness, maybe through how she looks, how she carries herself, even through how she speaks. But instead of doing the work to shift into that naturally. And all of this will actually disconnect you from your true magnetism. So let's talk about some reasons why the feminine is afraid to feel, and um why the feminine is afraid to feel. Because if you're using false positivity or spiritual bypassing, there is a part of you that is afraid to feel. Some of it is linked to your childhood patterning, being punished or ignored when you're too emotional. You might have been told to stop crying, you're too sensitive, I'll give you something to cry about, or you have no reason to feel this way. Those beliefs and patterning from your childhood could keep you from being disconnected from feeling your emotions. When it comes to your twin flame journey, you might have a fear that if you really feel the grief that you are experiencing because of this journey, the heartbreak that you're experiencing because of your twin, there's a part of you that might feel like you'll fall apart or repel your divine masculine, pushing him farther away from you. And that might look like something like you're in that pain of separation, right? And instead of letting yourself cry and feel the anger that you are experiencing because of this journey, you tell yourself, no, I have to be in my feminine energy. I have to be positive, and I have to be peaceful so I don't push him away. And that part of you that feels you need to be peaceful is a part of you that you need to address. You might have an unconscious belief around heartbreak, where, if I'm heartbroken, he'll never come back to me. Or you have to fake peace and not ruffle your twin flame's feathers out of fear that they're going to run again. All of this is helping you see parts of you that you are unable to see up until this point. To embrace this and get curious as to why you believe you have to keep the peace. Because, there's a part of you that probably believes that if you dive into this fear, anger, whatever it is that you're feeling towards your journey, that you're not going to survive it. Or that if your twin flame sees you in this state, that he may reject you. He may choose somebody else. But here's the thing I want you all to know is that your twin flame wants you to be authentic. For lack of better words, they need you to be authentic. And the last reason why you might be afraid to feel is because of collective wounding that we carry as feminine, as women. We have been labeled for being too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. But the reality is your superpower is your ability to feel. Your sensitivity is an ability to feel. And when others were saying this to you is because they didn't have the capacity to hold space for you, to honor your emotions. And the other thing is that you were not taught properly how to process your emotions. Sorry, I'm just going through my notes here. So let's talk about what it is that you can do to help move yourself through this ability to feel. First, a lot of feminines, I'm going to be diving into this in a date down the road, is that a lot of you like to embody your higher chakra. So your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown, right? Because those are more feminine energy centers. And they keep us up in this area of our body. When the feminine actually needs to be deeply rooted into our body, which means you need to connect to your physical body, get out of your mind and into your body and start looking at your lower chakras, your root chakra, which is around safety, security, stability, your sacral chakra, which is around sexuality, sensuality, creativity, your emotions, and your solar plexus, which is about your personal power, your confidence, and your willpower to move things forward. So if you're not feeling safe in your body, you're lacking creativity or sensuality or sexuality, you're unable to move yourself forward in life, you're disconnected from those lower chakras, which are actually masculine energy chakras. Because one of the things that I learned in my journey was because my mom was in her wounded feminine energy. My whole entire life, I was like, I'm not going to do that. And I like lived decades in mostly my distorted masculine energy, which was focusing on the 3D materialistic gain, trying to create this facade about myself that others would see me as successful. I had my life together. Things were done out of fear, out of control, and manipulation. And those are very unhealthy ways of embodying masculine energy. And I had to learn to start embodying healthy masculine energy, which allows the feminine to have a container, support, a structure for her to feel connected to her body, to be able to feel her emotions. Because a healthy masculine within you and within your connection will be able to hold you without trying to fix you, without trying to, suppress your emotions, but will be able to hold you as you move through these emotions. So start looking at what keeps you disconnected from your body. Look at your lower chakras. Are they aligned? Are they balanced? Do you have limiting beliefs or pain or trauma that is trapped in these chakras that are not allowing them to spin in the right direction? Because when you start allowing yourself to feel, here's what's going to happen. Those emotions are energy, energy in motion. When you start to feel those emotions, they start to release from your body. And it creates space for other things to come in, like clarity, your connection to your intuition, your ability to be magnetic. And when you allow yourself to grieve, to, experience the anger or rage that is within you in healthy ways, you start to reclaim your power. Because if you are, in rage or anger towards something, it's a lot of times linked to your personal power. It's a place where you have given your power away and you have not created a healthy boundary with yourself. Because what happens is the feminine, when she's in like the devoted dreamer archetype or the shadow alchemist archetype, a lot of times She will try to put boundaries on other people when she's meant to learn how to put boundaries on herself. That starts teaching your inner masculine things. It helps you to start embodying that healthy inner masculine. And so I want to give you a couple reframes when it comes to feeling your emotions. Is when you're feeling your emotions, you're not regressing in your journey. It's an opportunity for you to start discovering your self mastery in this life, in your feminine essence. For those of you that feel like you're falling apart, think of it instead as you're releasing everything that is preventing you from falling into wholeness. Because your radiance that you have, that's just dying to come out of you, doesn't come from all these spiritual practices out there. It comes from being real, for you showing up authentically, and for you allowing experiences in your life, allowing yourself to have emotions. And this is really an invitation for you to let go of the part of you that feels like your healing is a job. And I get it. I felt like my healing was a full-time job for many years because I made it part of my identity. And it's not part of your identity. It is just a part of your human experience. And to get out of the mindset that you need to be perfect or you need to be healed X amount in order for you to deserve union or to deserve your masculine to be in your life. This is an invitation for you to be honest with yourself, with your heart, with whatever is meant to arise within you. It's an invitation for you to come forward with that sacred container of compassion for yourself. And no amount of pretending that you are happy, pretending that you have inner peace, none of that will attract your twin flame back to you. Because guess what? Your twin flame and God are much smarter than that. Because if you're not attracting your masculine to you, and they haven't begun to do their inner work, it's because you haven't embodied that version of you that becomes the catalyst for them to start doing their journey. And when I say catalyst, it's not meaning that you are the one that awakens them. Because most likely, if they're in a karmic situation, that karmic connection is going to awaken them. But it's an energetic shift within your connection that he says, oh, it's my time. It's my time for me to heal. And they heal very differently than we do. And I'm not going to talk about how they heal because that is not my path. That is not my journey. I am not the masculine. I am the feminine. So I speak about the feminine. But the one thing that I do know is that they heal differently than us, and it takes them a shorter amount of time. So if you've been using false positivity to protect yourself or spiritual bypassing to try to, override your feelings, this is really an invitation for you to come back to you, to come back to your heart. And for you to feel safe connecting to your emotions, to feel safe connecting to your body. And to remind you that you are worthy of the ability to feel whole, to find that internal peace that is within you. And you don't have to bypass your pain to be spiritual. You just have to be authentic. And so if this is resonating with you, I would love for you to comment down below. Like, what's one feeling that you've been afraid to feel on this journey? And if you're feeling called to find a container where you can be held, you can be led, so you can start to return back home to you, then I encourage you to check out my monthly membership circle. This is a container for women who are feminines on the twin flame journey to come back to you. We learn how to feel and take our emotions and pain and alchemize them into personal power, into love, and to allow your nervous system to begin to heal and to learn how to embody your feminine essence and to return to that sacredness, that wholeness that's within you. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And like I said, let me know down below in the comments what's resonating with you. And if you're not following me on TikTok and you want more support and guidance on a regular basis, make sure you check out my videos on TikTok as well. And I'm just sending you all so much love and light and can't wait to connect with you in the next video. Until next time.